Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source in news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Good morning. It's 9:01. We have 45 degrees. It is going to be partly cloudy, windy, and mild today. In fact, we're under a wind advisory from noon till 6 for all of southeast Wisconsin. High today, 53. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. Another case of high lead levels now leading to a school to close temporarily.
On Thursday, Milwaukee Public Schools and Milwaukee Health Department sent letters to parents of Trowbridge Street School that high levels of lead dust were found in the building. To help with the deep cleaning process, MPS has asked that students move temporarily to the Wisconsin Conservatory of Lifelong Learning starting next Monday. A full press briefing will be given Friday morning to address what levels of lead were found at the schools. This is the first time since the MPS lead investigations have begun that students have been asked to temporarily leave their school. Sean Brinda, WTMJ News.
Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky on his way to Washington, D.C. to sign a deal on sharing Ukrainian mineral resources. Zelensky says the deal is preliminary. He wants security guarantees from the U.S. against more Russian aggression before any official agreement is made. Zelensky says without security promises, there will be no ceasefire. Mexico and Canada now starting to brace themselves for the new hefty 25% tariffs from the Trump administration, which are set to begin next week. More from ABC's Rachel Scott.
President announcing that those tariffs are now moving forward next week on March 4th. He's saying that those countries have not done enough to stop drugs flowing into the United States. It is notable, though, because Mexico has, in fact, extradited members of drug cartels, trying to show this good faith effort to stop this from actually going into effect.
New details about the mysterious deaths of actor Gene Hackman and his wife.
According to the search warrant, Hackman was found in the mudroom of the home, appearing to have suddenly fallen. His wife was on the bathroom floor with a space heater near her head and an open orange prescription bottle with pills scattered on the countertop. Their German Shepherd was found dead inside a kennel about 10 to 15 feet away from Arakawa. Authorities say they found no signs of foul play, but they're not ruling it out.
ABC's Trevor Ault. Police say it appears they had been dead for some time. One person stabbed to death in Milwaukee's Brewery District. The 21-year-old victim found dead in an apparent case of domestic violence near 10th and McKinley. A suspect is in custody. Newly released Milwaukee police body camera video from the shooting on Milwaukee's west side that left an officer injured.
Drop the gun! Officer down!
Officer Daniel Gonzalez and his partner giving commands before shots are fired at the intersection of 27th Street and Wisconsin Avenue, February 12th. 24-year-old Isaiah Stott was shot and killed. Officer Gonzalez was injured in the chest and leg. He is now at home recovering. The planets set to align tonight in a rare celestial event. Just after dusk, Mercury will join Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Venus, and Saturn in the western sky. Saturn and Neptune will be the hardest to see. They'll be close to the horizon. Binoculars or a telescope will be needed to see Uranus and Neptune. Time for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 232 points. The Nasdaq is down 56. The S&P 500 is up 5 points. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:04.
We've saved our clients over $19 million in real estate commission. I say this because that's a pretty big number. But at Century 21 Benefit Realty, it's really not about being a top volume agency. Over here, it's more about you. And at 1.9% commission and no more than $19,000 commission for the listing side of your sale, no matter what size property you're selling, you will save substantially. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Hey, it's the weekend. Take your family to the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club. Half your dinners are free, even on the weekend. WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love the Fox and Hounds, my favorite place. The Friday fish fry is all you care to eat and one of the best. All other dinners are buy one, get one free. Choice steaks, delicious seafood, mouthwatering pasta. The pecan-crusted walleye is so good. All the entrees are buy one, get one free. Desserts, too. Including that chocolate cake. Buy one, get one free. De-stress with an old-fashioned, a Manhattan. They've got 20 great bourbons, over 100 fine wines, and those 8 elegant dining rooms with real wood-burning fireplaces. Fantastic. Saturday night, your second prime rib dinner is free, only at the Fox and Hounds. The magnificent Sunday brunch is all you can eat. Kids and grandkids under 3 eat for free. Wherever you live, it's worth the drive through the Kettle Moraine for your free dinner right near Holy Hill. Call and reserve your free dinner this weekend. FoxandHoundsRestaurant.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Bucks outlasted the Nuggets 121-112 from Fiserv Forum. Milwaukee's won 5 of its last 6 games, improves to 33-25. Bucks visit the Mavericks tomorrow night. 12th-ranked Wisconsin Badgers battle a top 25 opponent on the road this weekend, tipping off against number 8 Michigan State Sunday afternoon from Breslin Center. Badgers Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more. And other college basketball action, Milwaukee edged Oakland 71-66. Panthers wrap up the regular season against Detroit Mercy tomorrow afternoon. Number 22 Marquette visits Georgetown tomorrow night. The Brewers bash the Royals 12-5 in spring training baseball from Phoenix. Brewers now 3-4 in exhibition play and will continue spring training against the Giants this afternoon. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. It is quiet out there. We don't even have any disabled vehicles on the freeway system. We are looking at normal drive times. Highway 16 to the zoo, an 11-minute commute. The zoo to the Marquette Interchange about 6 and 43 south from Brown Deer Road to the Marquette Interchange, about a 14-minute drive this morning. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. There is a wind advisory in effect from noon till 6 today for all of southeast Wisconsin. We're looking at wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour, sustained winds 15 to 30. Partly cloudy today with a high of 53. Windy overnight, a low of 17. Sunny tomorrow, a high of 28. Sunny Sunday, a high 36. Then a chance of a wintry mix on Monday, mostly cloudy 42. Chance of rain on Tuesday with a high of 46. 44 in Madison and in Green Bay, 46 now in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:08.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Should we talk about the government?
Thanks for listening, everybody. Happy Friday, the Political Power Hour Origin Edition, which means in studio is Joe Zepecki. On the phone, our friend Bill McCoshen, who's out in the States somewhere rallying our Republican Trump supporter base out there. Bill, how is it going out there in Wisconsin land?
Back to River Falls. I'm heading to Eau Claire for a couple meetings, so it's nice and sunny here.
You know, I thought remote work was a thing of the past under the Trump administration, but yeah, McCoshen thinks otherwise.
Hey, nice.
Well, I'm going to be there in person rather than being remote.
Yeah, that's true. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to start with Joe because he's here. The big story today, Zelensky is meeting with Trump. I guess the story for me is a couple things. I'm just interested in what you have to say, both of you. We have this relationship with Ukraine that I think is sort of being that those ties are being frayed a bit because, let's be honest, Donald Trump called Zelensky a dictator recently, and today they're meeting in the White House, apparently. And at stake is some mineral rights and some other issues that sort of we give you, I think, $350 billion of military assistance and
more
money.
Than 70% of which was spent at American arms manufacturers,
you made
which
that point
is good for the local economy.
You made that point last week. But yet, here we are trying to get something to Ukraine. Oh, by the way, there's a war going on in their country, and I want to make this clear, started by Vladimir Putin and Russia. Your thoughts on this sort of relationship that's becoming a little bit frayed?
The history of the Ukraine and the United States is a complicated one. It goes back to Bush 1. Done a little going in the Wayback Machine for that. Here's, I think, the summary, the TLDR. Too long, it didn't read the whole thing. It seems like America switched sides this week. That we are now on Russia's side. And the absurdity of Russia invading Ukraine, Donald Trump saying we're going to negotiate an end to this. He said he'd do it in 24 hours. Whoops. And to have a peace negotiation that does not have Ukraine at the table, but has Russia. And when Trump's national security advisor cannot name a single concession that they are asking Russia for to end this conflict, and we are voting with the likes of North Korea in the United Nations as we pass the 3-year anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine. This is nuts. And I can't make heads or tails of it, but maybe my friend Bill can.
All right. That's your cue, Bill McCoshen. What do you think?
So I think today should be a day of celebration, but I'm going to be cautious about that, and I'll tell you why. I think it is a step in the right direction, the fact that Zelensky is willing to come to the White House and sign the minerals deal. And for the listeners that don't follow this as closely as the three of us, this is really all about securing the amount of resources we have already given Ukraine, which is somewhere north of $200 billion, $100 billion of which Zelensky himself has said he has no idea where that went, which should raise all kinds of red flags. So I think this is a step in the right direction, but it isn't necessarily a day of celebration because, we're not done yet. There's still a conflict or a war between Russia and Ukraine. I'm hopeful that will end sooner than later. We know the previous administration did nothing to end that war, and this administration is working very hard in the first quarter or first 100 days of their administration to try and get that done.
Some fights are.
I think there is some progress today, but I'm not going to celebrate just yet.
Some fights are righteous and worth fighting. This is one of those, in my view. And my favorite thing that happened this week is Zelensky once again showed the measure of himself vis-a-vis Trump. Trump says he's a dictator. Zelensky comes back and says, I will step down as president of Ukraine if we get into NATO and I know that my country and my people are safe. That is called the moral high ground.
Great segue to my next question. The folks in NATO, our allies in Europe, are concerned, Bill McCoshen, and I'm a firm believer in the strength of that organization and the union of those, especially the European Union, of those countries who have been with us since the last century, sort of keeping the peace. And the instigator here is Vladimir Putin. He invaded Ukraine. I worry if that relationship splinters or breaks down or phrases, I used the term earlier, we don't have the sort of the cohesion we need to keep that part of the world stable. That's my concern.
Yeah, there's multiple balls in the air at the same time here for the United States. On the one hand, I'm a firm believer in NATO, and I think the United States should remain in NATO, and I think ultimately that's what's going to happen. But on the other hand, Trump is also trying to get new trade deals with most of those European partners that are fairer for Wisconsin farmers, Wisconsin manufacturers, and U.S. farmers and manufacturers. So there are a couple things going on at the same time here that are working at cross purposes. And we're going to see how that all plays out. I think Trump ultimately is going to be successful. He's proven pretty successful so far in the first month plus. But the issue of NATO, I mean, the reality is we pay most of those costs. The United States does. Europe is literally on the border of Ukraine. They're right next door to it. They need to pay their fair share of these costs going forward. And I think the idea of Ukraine getting in NATO is a non-starter in this peace settlement. So I don't think it's going to happen.
Little reminder of history and facts. The only time that Article 5 has been implemented by NATO was after the United States of America was attacked on 9/11. These are our friends and allies, and they have been good friends and allies.
That is Joseph Pecky. Bill McCoshen joining us as well on the road after the break. President calls it one big, beautiful bill. Is it? We'll discuss after this political power hour, I should say, 620 WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. I've got a great idea for how you can spend your weekend and come up with some cool ideas how to spend the rest of the year in the great state of Wisconsin. It is Experience Wisconsin. Saturdays at 1 o'clock, we will spin you around the state, tell you some cool places to go, introduce you to some fascinating people. It's Experience Wisconsin. On this week's show, it is beautiful Lake Geneva, and as we head into the Easter season, O&H Danish Bakery. It's Experience Wisconsin, Saturdays right here on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Advent. I love talking about Advent. You know this because it changed my life. It can change yours as well. Snoring, tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep. Does that sound familiar? You don't have to put up with that reality. You can actually do something about it. I did. A customer of Advent, well before I was a spokesperson, I went to Advent, 30-minute visit, one of their great facilities. They put me at ease. I asked all my questions. They answered all my questions. And they said, you know what? Your problem, sinuses, nasal passages, very common problem, by the way. It's your breathing triangle. We can fix that for you. They added in a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. Fast forward, I sleep through the whole night. Uninterrupted sleep. That should be your goal. Whatever your age is, whatever your issue is, they can fix that for you. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Advent can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com. Schedule an appointment today because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
A buck doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, and Jefferson. Griffin. The buck stops here. The deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
Thanks for tuning in on this Friday edition, special edition always, the origin story of the political power hour on 620 WTMJ. Joseph Pecky in studio, Bill McCoshen on the road, but still here with us on the phone. Bill McCoshen, the House this week, moving forward a big, beautiful bill, to quote the President of the United States. Lots of moving pieces here. The part that I criticized yesterday is I always like to see things being done in Congress, and action is a good thing versus the words that we often just get from Congress or the mouthpiece for political parties. But I worry when you say we're going to get to those savings, debt savings, trimming some budgets down the road in committee. That concerns me as someone who likes to see sort of fiscal sanity return in Washington, D.C. What do you think about this bill, and what's its next steps?
So both the Senate and the House have passed budget frameworks. And that, I mean, there's a lot of accolades being given to Mike Johnson, and I haven't been the biggest or strongest fan of his, but he should get some credit for that. But I think Josh Holmes, who's often on Fox News, he's the former chief of staff to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, said it best when he said that was a process vote. It's like shirts versus skins in the gym. You know what team you're on, and that you vote with your team. Sadly, for Republicans, we don't always do that. Democrats are far better at the shirts versus skin thing than we are. But Johnson got it done. He only lost Thomas Massey out of Kentucky, and that was expected. So his ability to move the process forward was pretty important. The next step, as we've talked about on our private text chain, is much, much harder. And that's when they're going to have to fold these cuts in. The House actually appears more willing to do that than the Senate. But for me as a conservative, everything DOJ has done to this point and what I think they will do over the next several months, I think need to be memorialized in statute so they are permanent cuts. And that is the only way they become sustainable long term. So my hope is that this next step, they find a way to get to yes. This first step is nice, but it just starts the process.
to memorialize things that judges are telling them they didn't have the authority to do. Yeah, that might be a good place to start. The irony of the Doge cuts is the U.S. government is probably going to end up paying more in penalties for illegally firing these folks or back pay before they're reinstated than they would have saved in the first place. And this budget framework still increases the deficit, which is why Massey decided to hold on to his no vote. And this is a framework that has very real implications if it comes to pass. On Medicaid alone, something that 1 in 4 Wisconsinites rely on, that tens of thousands of Wisconsin businesses bill for things like transportation and in-home care for the elderly or people with special needs. An $800 billion to $2 trillion cut to Medicaid is something that would blow a hole in the Wisconsin budget, making it harder to cut taxes, making it harder to fix the damn roads or invest in our schools. And just because the money goes away doesn't mean that the needs will go away. You already see Republicans blanching at this, but to meet the framework, they're going to have to take a sledgehammer to Medicaid. That is full of not just human cost, but political peril for Republicans who now look like the party that wants to take health care away from people. That didn't go very well for the Republican Party in 2018. And if they stay on this course, it's not going to go very well for them in 2026.
Here's what pisses me off. Everything, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Bill, but just let me get this out. Doge, everything that Doge is doing could have been done by Congress.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be the ones that spend the money.
Power of the purse.
And all of these things that we're hearing about, which, frankly, I don't trust most of the information, and I don't necessarily like people that are unvetted doing the work that Congress and our elected representatives should be doing. That's what gives me pause and concerns me going forward. I'm all about efficiency. But again, you could have done this earlier. You chose not to because of politics, which is always the great agitator. So let me jump in here, Bill.
So, listen, I think Joe and I pride ourselves on not using talking points on the show. That's a lazy way of doing it. Frankly, I think Joe's last comment was a talking point by Democrats on Medicaid. If you do a word search on either of the budget frameworks, you won't find the word Medicaid. There are no Medicaid. To the extent they are going to capture savings from Medicaid, it will come from waste, fraud, and abuse, or Medicaid for people who should not be receiving those benefits, like illegal aliens. So the notion that somehow you're listening to this and your Medicaid may be at risk is baloney. Don't buy it.
This is the cheapest get out of jail free card the Republicans have ever tried. That if you do a Control F word search, Medicaid doesn't appear in the bill. The bill says the Energy and Commerce Committee has to cut between $800 billion and $2.2 trillion. And that committee and the things that it oversees, you cannot get to those numbers unless you take a wrecking ball to Medicaid. That's just the reality.
Either one of you guys.
You don't have to take a wrecking ball.
Yeah, either one of you guys concerned about the brain drain. I'm talking about real people that know their work, have experience in all these agencies. The brain drain, just the cutting of massive numbers of people who are actually qualified to do the work versus some tech bro that shows up and because he's a good coder, he's sort of an expert on everything. None of this concerns either one of you guys?
We should have a jingle for Joe's favorite tweet of the week. Elon Musk saying, if you're a retired air traffic controller, there's a great need for air traffic controllers, probably because they just fired a bunch of them. Would you consider coming back to work?
No, they didn't.
I mean, you can't make this stuff
up.
No,
they didn't. Listen, the government could be a lot slimmer. There's 3 million people working for the federal government. If we cut 10% of them, or 300,000, will the government continue to function? Of course it will. And it probably will be more efficient. Guys like Sean Duffy this week said, not only do we need more air traffic controllers, but we need to pay them 30% more. So I think we are finally prioritizing what will keep Americans safe as it relates to, at least to DOT, and that's a good thing. So I think this entire exercise is to give everybody an opportunity to say what we need or what we don't need, what we need to do better as a government, and what can be done better by the private sector. So I think we're all going to benefit from this.
All of those things make complete sense. Yes, government is bloated. It's not efficient. But I worked in the private sector. I was a manager for 25 years of my 28 years at a private company, big company. The way we did this, when we got lean and mean and efficient, is you looked at your employees personally, in depth, the work they do, or the work probably more appropriate that they didn't do. Those are the employees that said, hey, this is not for you. We're going to move on. To just willy-nilly make cuts, which is what happened because they want to be, shock and awe and make the big blow right off out of the gate when the Trump came into office, is not the way you do this. That causes more concern, more inefficiencies, and frankly, because this should be talked about, when you have agencies like NOAA or FAA, those have health and safety concerns. So I agree that government's bloated. It's how you do it that matters. Real quick.
I know we got to get to break. The other thing here is the scale of these firings on top of the tariffs is leading to uncertainty and chaos. Consumer confidence is plummeting. CEOs and big business types on Wall Street are already saying this looks really, really bad from an economic standpoint. I thought Trump was elected to fix the economy. Now it seems like the economy is heading in the wrong direction.
Real quick, Bill, 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds. The median family income in the United States is $68,000. So the average federal worker makes closer to $90,000. You're not going to see a lot of people feeling sorry for the government getting slimmer and more efficient.
Bill McCosh and Joseph Heckey, lots more to get to on the Political Power Hour Friday edition. Quick break.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profiled the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes. Ryan Lathrop, school bus driver, coming his way, a semi-truck in the other lane, and it's creeping over the center line.
Tried to get around him, see if I couldn't avoid him, and he ended up going right down the side of my bus. I don't feel that I'm a hero. I did just doing my job.
Everyday Hero, Thursdays at 6:40 on Wisconsin's Morning News, presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Milwaukee Weight Loss. I love talking about that company because they have allowed me, helped me, coached me to lose 30 pounds already in about 6.5 weeks. It's the secret to losing fat every day. Their doctors have developed easy-to-follow weight loss program, helps you lose weight fast, naturally, safely, with no drugs, injections, no serious side effects, no prepackaged meals or bars or shakes. You don't even have to exercise if you don't want to. Their program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good. I'm on this program for a year. Ongoing coach for support. Their program costs up to half as much, works up to twice as fast as most of their programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Schedule your free consultation. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. Look at me. I'm a success story. You can be one as well. It's crazy to watch your body lose that weight, but I'll tell you what, it'll make you feel good. You'll look better. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180. 262-449-1180. Or go to online, MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com, MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Fleet Farm's bucket sale is back. You know the drill. Pick up a Fleet Farm 5-gallon bucket for only $3.99. Then save 15% on everything you can fit inside, including clearance. That's right. Any qualifying items you can fit in the bucket are 15% off. So come on in and load up on savings during Fleet Farm's bucket sale, now through March 5th. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Beer fans, travel lovers, and history buffs, this is your dream vacation. Join me, Sandy Max, on a 10-day journey through Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. We'll enjoy Munich's famous beer halls, sip our way through Salzburg's historic breweries, and discover Vienna's culture and craft beer scene. Then end the tour in Prague, where ancient history meets modern brews. From iconic castles to authentic flavors, grab your passport and let's raise a glass to the ultimate beer adventure. Limited spots available. Book now. Email me, sandy@wtmj.com to learn more.
Bill McCosh and Joseph Heckey joining me on the Friday edition. We only have a little bit of time, so we're going to tee up the big, beautiful bill that Donald Trump refers to as the sort of this all-encompassing sort of redo of government and how we spend our money. I'll give you a shot, and then we'll have Bill respond after the news. Real quick.
Well, the attention on the Hill is going to shift off of this for a little while because the government runs out of money on March 14th.
Will we have a government shutdown?
It sounds like Trump wants and congressional leaders want to do CR, it's called,
continuing resolution
through September, and just say, we're not going to do a full budget, we're not going to do a 60-day, we're just going to get through September. But that's easier said than done when the margin is what it is in the House.
All right, Bill, hold your powder on this issue. We'll get back to it, and we got lots more to talk about as well. And don't forget the Rogers Love segment. And of course, we'll have a really special grab bag for at least me today as we sort of wind down the week in politics. Look ahead to next Monday. Steve Wexler, my old boss and guys worked in broadcasting for 50 years. A lot of really important things happening, and it ties to government actions with the FCC and what the future of broadcasting looks like. We have local news from Connie Weber. Before we get to any of that, here's now the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. The U.S. has never had a national language, but the White House says that today President Trump will sign an executive order that designates English as the official language of the United States. Saying it's about unity, this rescinds a Clinton-era order that requires agencies that get federal funding to offer language assistance to non-English speakers. The president's expected to meet shortly with Ukrainian President Zelensky.
The two will be signing a deal to share Ukraine's mineral resources. Trump casting this as a way for Ukraine to pay back the U.S. for billions of dollars in aid. But in order to reach a broader agreement, Zelensky says he needs security guarantees from the U.S. so that Russia cannot invade again. And so far, that is something that President Trump has been unwilling to give.
That's ABC's Mary Bruce. American consumers cut their spending by 0.2% last month, the biggest drop in 4 years, and more than 20 new measles cases in West Texas where the outbreak continues. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:31. I'm Connie Weber. A man accused in a drunk driving crash that killed a man in Franksville back in November finally arrested Monday. 34-year-old Alexander Nieves facing 19 felonies for the rollover that killed 47-year-old Ryan Gaddy of Kenosha. He failed to appear in court, then ran from officers who came to his home Monday, but they eventually caught him and arrested him. He's being held on $100,000 bond. Eric Hovde's lawsuit against a Democratic Political Action Committee and several media companies gets dismissed. Former Republican Senate candidate sued for defamation over ads he said rigged the system to become a multimillionaire California banker. A Brown County judge ruled the ads constitute mere expressions of opinion. Hovde lost his 2024 election bid against Senator Tammy Baldwin by less than 1 percentage point. Another down year for subscriptions to Wisconsin's largest newspaper. Print editions of the Milwaukee Journal were down 15% last year compared to 2023. Digital subscriptions declined by just under 10%. Paper's parent company, Gannett, predicts revenue for digital products will increase in 2025. The Milwaukee Business Journal reports Gannett's total revenue has declined every year since 2019. Time for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. We've got up arrows on Wall Street. Dow up 261 points at 43,500. NASDAQ up 151 at 18,695. The S&P 500 up 36 at 5,898. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. It is still quiet out there. We have normal drive times this morning. 4145 south from Highway Q to the Zoo, about a 15-minute drive. And 94 north from Layton to the Marquette will take you about 7 minutes this hour. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. There is a wind advisory in effect from noon till 6 p.m. today for all of southeast Wisconsin. We're looking at winds 15 to 30 miles an hour with gusts up to 45. Winds out of the southwest, by the way. Partly cloudy today. Mild temperatures, maybe an afternoon or evening shower. High today 53. It's going to be partly cloudy and windy overnight with a low 17. Sunny and 28 tomorrow. Sunny and 36 on Sunday. Chance of a wintry mix again on Monday. Cloudy with a high 42. And then a chance of rain on Tuesday, 46. 44 in Madison and Green Bay and 46 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:34.
With the help of Less's Glass, you can have the shower you've always wanted. Heavy glass shower enclosures from Less's Glass are installed by the best in the business. And when you have a showroom to visit with over a dozen glass shower enclosures on display, there's no guessing games. See the ultimate in frameless shower design with doors mounted on smooth as silk, stainless steel barn-style rollers. This design combines the beauty and elegance of heavy glass with a minimalist look to create an ideal shower enclosure for tight spaces. Premium shower doors and custom-designed all-glass enclosures. When you work with Less's Glass, you're working with a company that really can do it all. This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
I haven't had anything to eat for days, and being hungry hurts.
Going without oil changes can destroy your engine, but it doesn't compare to the effect of going without food. That's why the Automobile Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee is determined to make sure no one goes to bed hungry. Through March 1st, they'll donate $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 14 years, Adam has donated over $890,000, providing more than 2.6 million meals to people across southeast Wisconsin, the majority being children and seniors. And with today's ongoing challenges, the need is greater than ever. So help the hungry while helping your vehicle. Get your oil changed by Adam Dealer Factory Trained Techs at a price as low or lower than independent shops. Visit an Adam member dealer near you.
For a list of participating dealers, visit adamm.com.
All right, he's been holding his powder too long. Bill McCoshen on the road, but still on the show. Joe Scaffidi in studio alongside me. Steve Scaffidi, host of the Political Power Hour. You've held your powder. Big, beautiful Bill McCoshen, what say you?
Well, they're off to a pretty good start. They got the framework through both the Senate and the House. The hard work starts now. Will they be able to get this done prior to the special elections for Congress on April 1st, both of which Republicans are expected to win, which will take them from a 1-seat majority in the House to a 3-seat majority? I'm not sure they're going to get it done in a month, but I think it will get done by mid to late April. And Johnson is surprising me in a good way, and I think a lot of that has to do with Trump's congressional affairs team is far better in this administration than it was in the last. And your listeners and you two gentlemen would remember, this is one area where I knocked him hard. I didn't think they did a very good job of working the Hill and trying to get things passed. This time they've figured that out and either have a far better team or are spending more time and effort on it, and they're getting results as a result of it. And they know when to plug Trump in himself. I mean, there was a rumor that he made a call into the Senate cloakroom on a couple of those appointments to get the final 1 or 2 votes he needed to get guys over the finish line. So I'm going to give them some credit so far on their congressional affairs. I think it will be one big, beautiful bill this time. But don't forget, the president actually could use reconciliation a second time in 2025, and he could do it again in 2026. Will they use all of those tools? I don't know. But we're off to a decent start as it relates to Congress. The harder part now is for people who put their name on the ballot to take these tough votes, to implement the cuts that Doge and Trump have been trying to get done across the board. And the bigger ones, frankly, are going to require congressional approval. So we'll see if Republicans, are going to put their money where their mouth is and stand up and vote the right way.
All right, Bill McCoshen, Joseph Pecky. Let's shift to Wisconsin. Lots of money being invested in the Supreme Court race. Crawford, Schimmel, Joseph Pecky. What's going on here? Lots of Musk money coming in.
Yeah, I mean, we know what Musk got for the $257 million he spent to get Donald Trump elected.
You can spell it out.
He got to be like co-president. He gets to run the cabinet meeting, for crying out loud. What I think people need to ask is, what is Elon Musk trying to buy here? Because his investment in this race did not start until 2 days after his company Tesla sued the state of Wisconsin in state court. And, that to me raises questions. But what say you, Bill?
I'm concerned about the money coming in, but I'm going to quickly give both candidates a little bit of credit. Joe and I have been on your show, Steve, and on Upfront, where we said we were concerned that both were going to express their values like Janet Protasiewicz did, which is essentially signaling to voters, this is how I'm going to vote or rule on an important issue that's going to come before me. I would say Schimmel and Crawford really have not done that, and I give them both credit for that. On the money side, this is going to be the most expensive Supreme Court race in history. What I wish we had a better mechanism for, because I listened to Brad Schimmel on a different radio station last night, I saw 10 ads this morning that told me he left 6,000 rape kits unattended. I heard his explanation of this last night where he said, absolutely not. We totally eliminated the backlog in the rape cases that had been there for decades. There should be a PolitiFact mechanism in Wisconsin to tell voters the truth on things like that. You shouldn't be able to be attacked on something that is blatantly false. So my friend Joe likes to say two things can be true at the same time. Two things can't be true on this. Either there was a backlog, or there wasn't. What is the truth on that?
I would just say quickly, that's why facts matter, and we've sort of blown up the idea that facts even exist anymore because everyone's got an opinion about what a fact is. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is that for the first 2 years, with 6,000 kits untested, they tested 9, and I actually heard an explanation for this week from people who were there, like Susan Crawford, who was in the state DOJ at that time, which is that rather than go to the Republican legislature as Attorney General, Brad Schimmel could have said, hey, we need this money. This is what we need to hire the folks to test the kits. Instead, he said, no, you got to go get grant money. And that took time. So it's the first 2 years of his term where those sat untested. And that's hard to explain in a 30-second ad. I'm not going to suggest otherwise. But, boy, to hear Bill McCoshen asking for more PolitiFact, I didn't think I could be surprised on this Friday morning, but here I am.
Good jab.
I think my friend Joe just agreed with Brad Schimmel that by the end of his term as Attorney General, he got the backlog eliminated. I think that's what Joe just said.
I think on that issue, I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. All right, real quick, 30 seconds each. A lot of people asking on the text line, 855-616-1620, about tariffs. You go first, Joe. Where are we at here? What do you think?
Well, he's blinked a couple of times, he being Trump, and delayed the tariffs, but apparently he means it. I guess they're going into effect next week, 25% on Europe. This leads to market uncertainty, global instability, and makes things cost more. That doesn't seem like an economic winner for me.
Go, Bill.
Not a huge fan of tariffs, but we don't have free trade. The United States is generally on the short end of this stick. I do like the reciprocal tariffs that he talked about a week ago, and I think he ought to stick to that because it's understandable by the average citizen. We'll charge you what you charge us.
All right, coming up next. Sorry, didn't mean to step on you there, Bill. Coming up next, what do you love? What do you hate? Roger's Love. That's next.
Julia Fellow here. Hey, are you ready to take the plunge with me? Join us for the Milwaukee Area Special Olympics Wisconsin Polar Plunge, March 1st at the Muskego Park Beach House. Brave souls will dive into icy waters to support local athletes. You can sign up to take the plunge or donate to Special Olympics Wisconsin. For more info and to register, visit plungewi.org or head to specialolympicswisconsin.org. Don't miss the fun and the freezing splash of a lifetime. See you at the Polar Plunge.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS. This week's home improvement experts are senior real estate specialists Bruce and Jean Nemovitz from Bruce's team.
You're right, and I'll agree. It does sound too good to be true.
but offering you affordable treatment that alleviates pain, which really does work, that we've seen in most cases insurance paid for in full, is a definite reality. It's pain relief, really. And these are FDA-approved treatments. They're safe and proven to reduce inflammation and alleviate pain. Yeah, you'll have to get a couple of shots, and I know that can scare people. But the needle is extremely small. And after giving shots like this hundreds of thousands of times, you'll see we make it very easy. You're going to feel the relief that our powerful pain relief agents give you. They're pain relief drugs that solve pain problems. And the way I feel is that Rejuvenex should be the first stop for anyone living with pain in shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees. At $65 per joint, per injection, it's probably the most affordable pain relief option available that actually works. Rejuvenex Google reviews will tell you more.
Now, it's time for Love and Rogers on the Political Power Hour.
Airs it out. Complete.
What makes you wanting more?
We got to find a way to go win.
And what makes you want to tear your hair out?
Oh, that's a good question.
Let's find out what the boys are upset with or happy about. Joseph Pecky, you start. Go ahead.
We'll start with love. I love reports this week that as Donald Trump purges DEI from the federal government, turns out that the corporate governance documents of his media company, Truth Social, just last year pledged to foster a, quote, culture of diversity and inclusion, end quote.
Ouch. Go ahead, Bill McCoshen. What you got?
I'm loving Milwaukee Circuit Judge Dave Borowski. He is the guy that is holding MPS's feet to the fire on school resources officers being in the building. He has yesterday issued an opinion that he's going to fine the city of Milwaukee $1,000 a day if they do not get this done by March 15th. He has stayed that order for a couple weeks to give him a little bit of time. But I'll tell you the rest of the story and what I'm disliking. And if you want me to go next, I'll go right
go
into
ahead.
it.
Go ahead. Shoot.
Okay. I am disliking MPS and the city of Milwaukee on this SRO issue. This is the reality. Those entities agreed with Republican legislators and Democratic Governor Tony Evers 2 years ago in the state budget that school resources officers would be back in our schools to make sure our kids and our teachers and our administrators are safe. Here we are 18 months later, and we've got the city and MPS doing a Three Stooges routine where they're pointing their fingers at each other saying it's their fault, it's their fault. BS. Do your job, honor the deal, get this done.
All right, Joseph Peck, you wind it up for us.
I hate public corruption. I'd like to move on from things like the FAA trying to cancel a contract for Verizon to give it to Starlink. I hate the fact that Justin Sun, a 34-year-old Chinese crypto entrepreneur who had been under investigation by the SEC after he pumped $75 million into that ridiculous Trump meme coin, has apparently bought himself a get-out-of-jail-free card because now the Trump administration is putting all the charges on pause. Public corruption is noxious, and we need to be tough on it. So far, the Trump administration is not doing that. I mean, it would make, like, mob bosses blush the way that they are just turning a blind eye to corruption.
There used to be a term that's sort of not popular anymore, conflict of interest. Apparently that means nothing, especially when we're talking about governments and billions of dollars. And look, I've said it over and over again. I don't trust Elon Musk as far as I could throw him. And I don't believe that he is looking out for the interests of all of us. I think he's looking out for his own interests. And that's concerning to me. So I would ditch him in a second if I had that power. I don't trust him.
Got, according to reporting by the Washington Post this week, his two companies have gotten $38 billion from the feds in contracts. Wow.
It makes no sense to me. All right, I'm going to leave a little more time. Got a special grab bag today. My grab bag will be especially significant to me. Bill McCoshen, Joseph Pecky will continue the conversation after this on 620 WTMJ.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profiled the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes.
Brian Lathrop, school bus driver, coming his way, a semi-truck in the other lane, and it's creeping over the center line.
Tried to get around him, see if I couldn't avoid him, and he ended up going right down the side of my bus. I don't feel that I'm a hero. I did just doing my job.
Everyday Hero, Thursdays at 6:40 on Wisconsin's Morning News, presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Annex Wealth Management. Can you believe it? March is almost here. Coming up fast. Days are getting longer. Thank God for that. Plans are starting to be set. Our list of projects is growing. How about checking something off your list? How about doing something about your investment retirement planning? To finally take that step, get with Annex to get things in order for not just this year, but beyond. You heard me talk about them a lot. Maybe your friends and neighbors too. It's time. An investment retirement plan built by the fee-only fiduciaries, that matters, folks, at Annex Wealth Management makes sense. Head to annexwealth.com, just like I did 3 years ago. Click the now famous Get Started button. Easy. Annex makes it convenient, and they can handle it all. Retirement investment planning, tax planning, estate planning, one stop. Meet at one of their 8 convenient locations. I think I've been at most of them. Or virtual meetings via Zoom also works really good. There's a significant difference between financial advisors. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Start at annexwealth.com.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious accident? It's free. Yes, free, as in it won't cost you anything to speak with us. There's never a fee until we win your case. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. You can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Fleet Farm's bucket sale is back. You know the drill. Pick up a Fleet Farm 5-gallon bucket for only $3.99. Then save 15% on everything you can fit inside, including clearance. That's right. Any qualifying items you can fit in the bucket are 15% off. So come on in and load up on savings during Fleet Farm's bucket sale. Now through March 5th. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right. Since we got most of the politics out of our systems, let's finish up with some grab bags. And I'm going to go first today because I have a special one. My mother-in-law, Diane, passed away this week at the age of 86. I'm lucky. My mom and dad are doing well, but I was blessed over the last 40-plus years of having a bonus mom and dad who were always there for Kathy and I. We traveled together to Las Vegas. We spent summers at their place in Spider Lake, in Mercer, Wisconsin. They introduced me to Brandy Manhattan, Diane's favorite drink, which she enjoyed almost to the day she died. She is now at peace after a life well lived. Her children, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren will certainly miss her, but they'll remember her smile, her incredible sense of humor, and probably most importantly, her love of family. I want to thank the folks at Ascension Hospital for the care and compassion they showed to Diane over the last year. We're all going to miss you, but you'll never be forgotten by all of us who loved you so much. Diane and Dreska, you will be missed.
Very well said, Steve. We are, of course, heartbroken for your loss. We're thinking of you and your family, and
absolutely
impossible to follow. But I think the love that she had for her family inspires me to just use this week's grab bag to wish my dear old dad a happy 71st birthday.
Happy birthday!
A couple
Dad.
days ago. We're going to celebrate him this week. Get him out to the driving range with the heated bays. Have him hit some golf balls with his grandson and I. And it's at times like this, it is. And when you hear about losses like that, it reminds you just how important family is and that, time is very, very precious.
Thank you, Joe. Bill.
Yeah, that's hard to top. I'm going to keep mine light, too, and congratulate you, Steve, on 30 pounds down. I've been on the weight loss and gain yo-yo my entire life, and it's not an easy thing. And if you can find the right system that works for you. And, I actually do take this Maha thing seriously, and I hope all the listeners are doing what you can to get yourself healthy. I sadly lost one of my sisters a little over a month ago to a heart attack, and she was only 70 and gone far, far too soon. So do what you can, listeners, to keep yourself healthy the way Steve is, and congrats, Steve. Keep it up.
I appreciate that. It's interesting. We were talking about the funeral, which is next Wednesday, and I'll be off from the show, and Tracy Johnson will fill in. She does such a great job on the program when she's here for me. But my daughter Katie, the oldest grandchild, is doing the eulogy, and it's hard to, and maybe I should be better at it because I'm an emotional person. And maybe people don't think that, but I am. So it's hard to do that. I'll tell you a quick Diane story though. I had started to go out with Kathy. This is obviously 40 plus years ago. And Diane was a fantastic cook. I mean, brilliant cook. As a matter of fact, in her home right now is thousands of handwritten recipes for everything from appetizers to gourmet meals. And she invited me over to the house because one of her specialties as an Italian is she's a great Italian cook. Her mother and father were both from Italy, and she made spaghetti and meatballs. Everybody who's Italian, it's a traditional fare. So we're sitting down at the table there in Franklin. And I had just started to eat, and I was thinking to myself, this is really, really spicy spaghetti. I look over at my late father-in-law, Ken, who passed about 8 years ago. He is literally, there is sweat dropping off his forehead onto his plate. She had accidentally, because she always put a little bit of kick in there, spaghetti. She dumped like 10 times the amount. It was almost inedible. And for the many days and weeks and months after that, she apologized for making what was sort of like a super spicy, like almost Mexican version of spaghetti and meatballs. I've told that story a million times. I'll never forget that moment. That was my introduction to her family at their home in Franklin.
Maybe she was testing him. Maybe it was one of those intentional mistakes. See if this young man is tough enough to date our daughter.
Let's see how tough this guy really is. I'll say this because, I always enjoy the time we spend together. This is something that I treasure, the Friday show especially, because it is the origin story. Bill McCoshen, I appreciate you. Joe Zapecchia, you're not just guys who are on the show. You're my friends as well. So I appreciate all the great things you do.
Thank you.
Not just here, but out in the world. That's the show today. We'll get to the news, and, of course, Jeff Sherman's Upswing coming up next. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Hey, John Mercure here for Guthrie and Fry Water Conditioning. My reverse osmosis system in my house is fantastic. The water I drink, the water we feed the dogs, the water we cook with is crisp, clean, and clear thanks to Guthrie and Fry's RO system. It's the best in the business. It's affordable, it's effective.